grandparent, or a neighbor that needs someone at home with them to keep them safe? Have you ever watched the eyes of a grandparent light up when their grandchild walks into a room? Today, we're going to discuss both of these concepts. Hello, and thank you for joining today's session in the Connecting Our Community Speaker Series. For those that know me, you know that I am both a parent and a professional who is dedicated to serving the special needs community. Because of my passion for this, I founded Outspoken to give a voice to those who may not be heard. Today, we are speaking with Jamie Hudzic, Director of Operations and Development at the Elizabeth Seton Center. She directs fundraising initiatives, including capital campaigns involving private and public sectors. For 6 years, Jamie has assisted with communications, marketing, HR, and strategic planning tasks to build Seton Center's capacity and footprint. Prior to joining Seton Center, Jamie worked with a local disability rights advocate, helping local nonprofits be more efficient and effective in fundraising, strategic planning, board governance, and other organizational initiatives. In 2013, Jamie co-authored a handbook, The Board Member's Guide to Capital Projects, with Linda Dickerson and 3 other authors. Jamie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So if we can start with some history, it may give our audience a picture of the resources that can be found through the Elizabeth Seton Center. Can you give us some background about how the center was started?
Sure. So Elizabeth Seton Center evolved after Elizabeth Seton High School closed in 1979, when it merged with South Hills Catholic High School to form what's now Seton LaSalle High School. A few of the Sisters of Charity of Seton Hill remained in the second floor convent, and the rest of the building was used for Allegheny County Community College classes. The Sisters of Charity surveyed nearby parishes and the local community to identify needs of these neighborhoods that could be met in the building. And childcare and senior services rose to the forefront of needs. The sisters established Elizabeth Seton Center as a nonprofit corporation in 1985 to meet the needs, and they also created an advisory board. At first, the space was leased for outside programs which served seniors and the arts. Board members worked to win a contract from the Allegheny County Agency on Aging for services to local senior citizens. And one of the sisters, Sister Frances Assisi Gorham, began a Suzuki School of Music at the center. In 1987, Sister Mary Lucilla Wirtz opened the Child Care Center. And from the start, the sisters made a commitment to connect both the seniors and the children in mutually enriching ways. Bringing together the young and old within community in a family atmosphere resonated deeply with the sisters' Seton heritage. Intergenerational programming became a hallmark of the center, with the arts included all across the board. Sister Barbara Ann Boss was named the director of the Children's Center in 1988, and in 2000, she became our current president and CEO of the entire Elizabeth Seton Center.
Impressive history. And I've had the opportunity to meet Sister Barbara, and I'm hoping that in the future I get to sit down with her and learn more about the history of the center. So moving on, can you tell us, where are you located?
Sure. Our headquarters is in the Brookline neighborhood within the city of Pittsburgh. And then over time, we've had several other satellite programs. We now have locations in Overbrook, Whitehall, and Greensburg, including senior centers in Brookline and Overbrook, and adult day services programs in Brookline and Greensburg. And then we also have an ombudsman program in Westmoreland County to help seniors in local long-term care facilities.
So can you tell us what it means to be an ombudsman?
Sure. An ombudsman is a specially trained individual who helps protect the rights of older Pennsylvanians who live in long-term care facilities. Ombudsmen act as an advocate for these individuals. They provide relevant information, answer questions, investigate complaints about the quality of care or the treatment of long-term care providers. They offer assistance in resolving problems, and they act as an intermediary when problems or complaints arise.
So those are really crucial advocates. That's great that that's offered. What other services are currently offered through the center?
So we have all of our programs reflect we have a motto, life in progress. So in addition to the ombudsman program, we offer senior centers, as I mentioned, in Brookline and Overbrook, and adult day services programs in Brookline and Greensburg. We have the drop-in senior centers that include activities that promote socialization, such as arts and crafts, educational programs like cooking classes, physical exercise. We offer silver sneakers classes. We also have outings, like we just yesterday took a trip to the Washington Wild Things baseball
Oh, how
game.
fun.
And we also have additional resources for our seniors. We have an information and referral specialist on staff. She answers questions and provides resources that seniors have. And then our most popular social events are bingo, which we hold every Monday and Friday in Brookline. And we also have monthly holiday parties, which include bingo. At Overbrook, which is open 3 days a week, we hold bingo on Tuesdays there. And we have other social activities such as cards and games, exercise, arts and crafts, and those we do on Wednesdays and Thursdays in Overbrook. And then our Brookline Senior Center is open 5 days a week. So people come to have lunch with their friends. We have all kinds of activities that go on in our senior centers.
I feel
And
like
then
I
we
should get my
also-
bingo dauber.
That bingo is very popular. We also have an adult day service program. We have one in both Brookline and Greensburg. And those provide a safe, secure home away from home for frail adults who can't stay home alone by themselves during the day. So we
Okay.
serve adults with Alzheimer's or other dementias, Parkinson's, stroke or neurological issues, arthritis, or any other chronic illnesses. And for those folks, we provide breakfast, lunch, and a snack during the day. And we also have a part-time nurse on staff who monitors their medical needs and can also administer medications to them. And the
And is
adults in
there
our
like
care,
age limit?
no. So we,
Okay.
it's really any adults. We've had folks ranging from their 20s to we've had folks who are over 100 years old. And they are engaged throughout the day in socialization and activities based on their abilities. And they're always active with exercise, crafts, games, entertainment. We do memory and motor enhancement activities. We really believe in not just, having folks sit in front of the TV at home all day. We are a resource for families where they can bring their loved ones to be engaged.
That's so important. I love that that's available. So you mentioned a nurse. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that on-site nurse does?
Sure. Our nurse, she works with individuals, their families, and their care team. And she makes sure that they're getting the resources and services that they need, like exercise or physical therapy. Our nurse does blood pressure checks. She documents weight, maintains charting or progress notes on each individual, which is often required by insurance companies. So she handles all of that. And she basically acts as a health liaison for everyone in the adult day services program. And then we've also had, and we welcome other healthcare professionals such as case managers or service coordinators to come on site to perform evaluations or coordinate care for the individuals.
That's a lot and amazing. And going back to that age span of 20s to over 100 is also pretty amazing. So I guess you mentioned that these are individuals that can't stay home alone. So for whatever reason that is, if they fit, they could come to the adult day services. So we talked a lot about the adults there. Can we pivot a little bit? Tell me about the kids.
Sure. So we offer infant, toddler, preschool, and school-age childcare programs at locations in Brookline and our newest location in Whitehall.
Okay. And I do think that folks generally understand that there's a need for childcare if families are otherwise occupied, but can you talk a little bit about what makes your centers different?
Sure. So our staff members in our childcare centers provide safe, developmentally appropriate educational curriculum for children ages 6 weeks old to 12 years old. In our infant toddler departments, which is 6 weeks old to about 5 years old, right until children enter kindergarten. The children have a calm routine, healthy meals, and socialization with their peers. And then that's where they develop a foundation for learning. and preparation for kindergarten. The number of staff is always appropriate, which is, we always have a better ratio than the state required staff to child ratios for each group.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then the school age children, we offer before and after school care as well as summer programming. So during the school year, we provide breakfast before school and a snack after school, and then we transport the children to and from several local schools. We have our own vans that we use to transport them. And then we have after school activities. They'll do homework and then have recreation time in our gym or on our playground. So we make sure they're in a very safe, caring environment.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's a great program. My daughter's actually in it. Our daily
nice.
Our daily summer program, which is happening right now, ensures that the children maintain their educational momentum in a comfortable environment. And so we structure our summer program with weekly themes and special activities each day. And some of these activities include a visit from the wild world of animals during Animal Week. We did bowling during Sports Week. And we do visits to places like we have upcoming in August, a visit to the PA Trolley Museum. And as I mentioned just yesterday, we did an intergenerational field trip to a Washington Wild Things game. So that was wonderful.
That had to be fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
And
it's okay,
is this something, I was just going to ask, do the parents pay for this, or how are those things covered?
So we, this summer, we had a generous grant from Brentwood Bank to support this program, the school age summer programming in particular. So, so their generosity has enabled us to do so much more this year for the children and their families. And make everything, all the activities accessible to everyone. We were able to afford bus transportation to go to these events, subsidize the cost of attending, and you know, families couldn't afford to attend. We could take care of that thanks to Brentwood Bank. So we're really appreciative of being able to do all of these extra things. And we also planned several intergenerational field trips with the funding from Brentwood Bank. So we're really excited about the intergenerational work that we do. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so then on a daily basis, what other kinds of activities are going on in the summer?
So we have all kinds of activities that meet those weekly themes that our coordinators put together. And then we also take the children swimming every afternoon at a local pool that's practically across the street from our Brookline Center here. So
convenient.
It's wonderful, and they love swimming, and our staff loves it too. And so we're open year round, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we always have activities going on site here. So it's wonderful.
And then you also have other activities that aren't just the kids and the adults in your care, more community focused. Tell me about some of those.
Sure. So we also offer music lessons they're open to anyone in the community. We currently offer guitar and piano lessons. And we also partner with the Heritage Players Theater Group, and they do performances in our auditorium. And they perform 5 to 6 shows a year. And one of those shows is always family friendly and includes children in the cast. So their next show, The Secret Garden, is that show that includes children in the cast and is family friendly. And that runs from August 2nd to August 11th. So it's coming up very soon. And we're really excited to partner with them and have them in our auditorium, putting on great shows for the community.
And in a little while, we are going to provide contact information. So if anybody is hearing this thinking they would like to attend, we'll make sure that everybody has the information about how to reach out. But getting back to the uniqueness, if all of that wasn't enough, right? The uniqueness of the center. Can you talk more about your intergenerational model?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So our intergenerational program is kind of what sets us apart from other childcare centers and other senior centers. Seton Center has always informally had intergenerational interactions where we bring the children and seniors together for mutually beneficial activities. But in 2018, we received a grant from the Palumbo Charitable Trust to formalize this intergenerational program. So we created an intergenerational coordinator position on our staff. So one of our staff members who had experience in both the childcare side and the senior side, we promoted her to intergenerational coordinator. And she plans activities at least twice a week for the children and the seniors at our Brookline location. And these interactions, they bring such joy and smiles to the faces of the seniors, and also gives them a sense of renewed purpose. And then the children experience the love of new, pseudo grandparents, and it's just wonderful to watch these interactions.
Well, I can interject and say when I visited, you were kind enough to give me a tour and I saw some of this going on, but I remember we were in the senior area. I think it was your adult day services area, but correct me if I'm wrong, but nonetheless, we went in and the adults were sitting there and staff was engaging them and talking and trying to do an activity. But as soon as those babies entered the room, I remember all of them leaning in and all the smiles. I just that quick, it was so impressive.
Yes, it's amazing to watch. We have some great stories of the interactions. We've had folks in our adult day services program who maybe are nonverbal. They don't speak too much to the staff, but the babies come in and they start saying baby, baby, and getting all excited. And it's just so moving to watch.
That is so impressive, because somebody who's nonverbal, to hear them speak, it's just gives me goosebumps.
We have just a wonderful program.
If you can talk a little more about what they do and where, so which locations are these that have this model going on?
Sure. So where we have our childcare locations in Brookline and Whitehall. So in Brookline, we have activities at least weekly. We try to do them at least once a week. And then we also, our new childcare location in Whitehall, which we don't have our own senior programming at that location, but we recently just partnered with South Hill Square Retirement Community. And that's located right next door to our childcare center. So we started doing intergenerational activities there as well. And we've already held ice cream socials and done arts and crafts with them. And we're just excited about this new partnership that really expands our intergenerational mission. I
love that. And it does remind me, because I think I may have told you when I was touring your facility that my adult son, who's 37 now, it reminded me when he was probably, I don't know, 4, 5 in childcare, that there was a foster grandparent program. And I've never seen or heard of that since then. So you referenced pseudo grandparents, and I think that's so important. Not every child has that in their lives. And for the adults, many of them no longer, if they ever had children in their lives, maybe they don't currently. So those smiles over those activities and interactions, just so precious.
They really are. And we watch the relationships building between the children and the seniors. They will sometimes, recognize, the children will recognize the seniors and want to engage with those particular seniors. And the seniors will sometimes remember the names of the children that were there last time. And it's just really, it's lovely.
I love it. That's amazing. And I know you mentioned that you have these activities, but you're also doing a special activity in the coming months.
Yes. So we are hosting a Grandparents' Day bingo on Saturday, September 7th. We hosted in our Brookline location, and we've done it a few times in the past, and it always sells out. So it's just a great event to bring the children and the seniors together. So I mean, you're referencing it sells out. So is this a fundraiser for the center? It's a I call it a light fundraiser. We do it more because it fits our intergenerational mission, and it brings the community together. So we don't want to lose money on it, but it's not intentionally a fundraiser. But we do have some other fundraisers that we do. So just to point out, the Seton Center is a nonprofit organization, right? Yes, correct. Okay. So in doing the fundraiser, whether it be the bingo or your others, you're truly operating at the benefit of grants and donations, correct? Absolutely. Mhm.
Okay. So I know you said you have a couple other fundraisers, and we'll mention those in a minute, but let's take a step back and talk about the people you're serving. So what does that demographic look like?
Sure. So in our adult day services program, we serve approximately 50 adults between both our Brookline and Greensburg sites. And these folks are experiencing cognitive decline or other health issues, and they can no longer independently stay safely in their homes during the day. And they'll typically live with a family member who has other responsibilities. So some of them live with their adult children who have to work during the day. Others might live with a spouse who can't care for their loved one 24/7 and need some respite during the day. So that's kind of our adult day services community.
Okay.
And then our senior centers in Brookline and Overbrook serve more than 250 area seniors a year. And
Wow.
that's seniors are considered age 60 and over. And
Okay.
so depending on the activities, as I mentioned, we do all kinds of, bingo, arts and crafts, cooking classes. So the group size varies depending on what activities are going on, but we generally serve, our average daily attendance is around 40 to 50 individuals each day.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
And then, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to go back and revisit. So you talked about the people that cannot safely stay in the home by themselves. Those are your folks that are the 20s to 100, right?
Yes.
And then you mentioned the senior centers are the 60 plus. The senior center is drop-in, right? You could just show up for the activity. Is that right?
So we have you, if you're coming for the first time, we'll have you register in the county system, basically that tracks the seniors. And so,
Okay.
but yes, we have sign-up sheets for all of our activities. The bingo, you can just come once you're signed up at our center. And you can sign up for any of the outings that we do. We always have sign-up sheets for all of those different activities.
Okay. And the opposite of that, the adult day services is not drop-in. That has to be established in advance, right?
Correct. Yes. So
Okay.
that service is it's on a contract basis. So the requirement is that folks come at least 2 days a week.
Okay.
Through however they're coming, whether it's through insurance or private pay.
And okay, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So you said 40 to 50 per day, and then the seniors is over 250 in a year's time. How about the kids? What's your capacity to care for children?
Sure. So our Brookline Child Care Center has a capacity of 205 children, and our Whitehall location has a capacity for 189. It varies from day to day. Not everybody is
Sure.
there. It's every day, but
Right.
but right now we have around 100 children currently enrolled at our new Whitehall location. We're still trying to hire additional staff there. If anybody's looking for a job, let me know. We're hiring.
Great.
But we have to maintain appropriate staff to child ratios for each group.
Yes.
So with the infants, it's a very small ratio and it gets larger as they get older. So we can't enroll additional students there until we hire additional teachers to open more classrooms there.
Makes sense. And as a parent, I appreciate the maintaining the ratio. So that's good.
Yes.
So assuming you have the staffing that you need, your capacity was over 100 in one location and over 200 in the other. That's a lot of kids in your care. And then I guess for those kids, you also mentioned the different programs. So I imagine your capacity, you're taking on more children in the summertime than you are during the school year. Is that right?
We actually, it's interesting. We actually have lower enrollment in the summer. While we have a higher school age enrollment in the summer because we have students there all day for the summer program. But a lot of our preschool students will not come in the summer. Sometimes their parents are off for the summer. Some of them are just there for the school year. So our enrollment drops a little bit overall. It just it changes in the departments.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for that clarification.
Sure.
So if we can, I know I'm going back and forth here, but the whole point is the adults and the kids and the intergenerational. So going back to the adults that come, you mentioned some insurances. I guess some of the services may be covered by insurance. So tell me a little bit about what that looks like.
Sure. So we currently have individuals in our adult day services program who use, it's called a CHC waiver, Community Health Choices waiver, through their insurance companies. And then we also accept options waivers, and those are for older, low-income adults who are on Medicaid. And I was talking with our director of senior services yesterday about different waiver options. And he said, we're really willing to explore other options or waiver options or insurance options, just depending on what people need or have, what they need for their care. And then we also have a private pay rate of $70 a day. So that for our adult day services program.
Well, that's important to know. I do recognize a lot of individuals with disabilities and seniors may qualify for those Medicaid waivers. So I'm happy to hear that you accept them and will work with insurances too, because after all, there could be a new insurance that comes out, and the willingness to work with the insurance company to have things covered is wonderful. And then obviously childcare is not covered by insurance, but if you can talk a little bit about sometimes people need some help with childcare and you're able to work with that, right?
Absolutely, yes. So in our childcare center, we accept, it's called the Pennsylvania Early Learning Resource Center, or ELRC. Their childcare works subsidy. So it's a specific subsidy that's based on a family's income and family size. And so people just apply for that independently of us, and then they're told this is your copay that you'll have to pay, and then the rest of it is subsidized. So they work directly with the ELRC to figure out that subsidy. And then at our Brookline location, we also partner with the Pittsburgh Public Schools during the school year to offer a pre-K counts program. And that's also for low-income families. So right now, about 50% of the children that we serve receive one or sometimes both of those subsidies, some form of subsidy.
Well, and we had not talked about this before, but it occurs to me that those families, those folks that are in that sandwich generation, where they may be caring for children and for parents, could do so at kind of one-stop shopping, and dependent upon insurances and income levels, there could be subsidies and waivers to help cover some of that cost. Because I imagine those in that sandwich generation are really being squeezed, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know personally, if I had to do it, I would much rather, drop off grandma and junior at the same place and not have to go to two different. So I appreciate that that's an option.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as delivery of services, obviously childcare is an in-person service. Are all services delivered in person?
Yes. So during COVID, we actually, our senior centers were shut down. They were mandated to be shut down. But everything is now back in person, open again. Childcare during COVID, we were only closed for maybe 2 months. And then we were back open, by Memorial Day of 2020. We were doing the in-person care and classes while everybody else was at home virtually. We were monitoring the students on their computers. They were with us because their parents had to work. A lot of parents didn't have the luxury to stay home if they had a job, especially folks who were working in critical services like healthcare. We had a lot of law enforcement, a lot of folks who had to go to work when everything was. And so their children were at our center, and we were helping them with virtual learning on site here.
That's awesome. And then you mentioned, I'm thinking the in-person delivery of services, you mentioned having those vans that you can use to transport children to local schools. how about seniors? How do the seniors get to you?
So our information and referral specialists will help folks set up accounts with Access or other like public transportation options.
Okay.
Access is one that a lot of the seniors use, but there are several services that when folks some of the senior center clients who don't drive anymore, they will come for drop-in activities. They'll come by Access, and then our adult day services folks as well will help them get set up with transportation options.
Okay. And I think something that you just alluded to is really important, that a number of your seniors are really driving themselves. These are people that are independent and just come to you for the fun and activity and socialization with friends, right?
Yes, absolutely. And actually our Brookline location is located right on a bus line. Actually, as I was pulling in today, there were a couple seniors who got off the bus and walked across the street and came in with me to the senior center for activities here. So we're accessible that way as well, which is nice to be on the bus line.
Yes, very much so. And then when we talk about accessibility, if you want to just talk a little bit about, in that intergenerational model, how you've made that work and how you've made it accessible for everyone.
Sure. So over the past few years, we've been able to install both an elevator and a stair lift at our Brookline location to make the building more accessible. It's an old high school building that was not accessible, and so we've been able to put those things in to enhance the accessibility for the generations to interact. So we used to only be able to take the children over to the adult day services or the senior center, but now we can invite seniors into the classrooms to read to the toddlers, to do activities with the preschoolers. And so it's wonderful. They can be in the classroom setting with the students, so because they can access the building better now. So we're very excited to have our elevator completed.
That's awesome. And I imagine that was probably grant funded.
It was, yes, we did
Okay.
private fundraising, but mostly grant funded.
Okay. And I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the fundraising. We mentioned before that as a nonprofit organization, you do rely on fundraising and grants. So can you tell me about your fundraising activities and, where can people find you?
Sure. So we have lots of what I call kind of the smaller staff-led fundraisers that,
Okay.
We sell hoagies, we sell pizza, we do several calendar raffles each year. Those are always a big hit, and then sellout. We'll do calendar raffle tickets for a certain month, and you can win an amount based on the daily lottery. Those are popular.
Oh,
So we do all of those activities, and then we also have two major fundraising events each year. So in the spring, we have a golf tournament, usually late April, early May. And then we also do a purse bingo, a designer purse bingo, and brunch in the fall. And
nice.
That's been a fun event that's grown the past few years. And this year that's scheduled for Saturday, November 23rd. And we hold that at GV Social Hall in Whitehall. So it's a fun time for all the bingo lovers. You can win some designer purses and enjoy the bingo. It's really a fun time.
I love it.
We do those two kind of our major events. But also next year is our 40th anniversary. So we're planning a few celebratory fundraising events next year. We're hoping to have a gala in Greensburg and then a more family-friendly kind of community event here in Pittsburgh. So we're excited to plan those events and celebrate the 40 years that we've done this intergenerational programming.
That's amazing. And please do keep us posted on that so that we can all have the opportunity to potentially participate in any of that. And I want to make sure that I'm sharing contact information for you. And as I do that, can we just briefly talk about, all of the services that we've mentioned, now that our audience learns about that, if they have someone that could benefit from any of these services, what would they do and how would that work?
Sure. So I will say we have very few childcare openings. As most parents probably know, it's really hard to find a childcare spot anywhere. And we are a Star 4 center. So there's a program called PA Keystone Stars, which is like a rating system for Pennsylvania childcare centers. And so Star 4 is the highest level. So we're I didn't mention that before. So we're a high quality center. Which increases demand as well once people see that we're Star 4. So we do have some openings, but they usually depend on the child's birth date. So since we move children up to the next classroom based on their age level when they turn the next age, it kind of depends on their birth dates, what spots we have available.
Okay.
But we do have an inquiry form on our website that you can fill out if you're interested in childcare at either Brookline or Whitehall, and our childcare director will get you to the right spot and let you know if we have any openings. So that's how we
Question
handle
on that.
Yeah.
Do you maintain a waiting list if you don't currently have an opening?
So we do have a waiting list. Sometimes we'll have people who say, well, I could go to either center. And so
Okay.
we can try to, fill them in again, kind of based on birth dates. Well, we have an opening at Whitehall, if that's something you'd like to consider. So opening the new center has really helped with that.
Sure.
But we do keep a waiting list. We rarely have openings. I will say that too, but
I can imagine.
But we do keep track of that information so that if something opens up, we have people who move out of the area, get a new job, things like that, and we'll have a spot open up. So we will refer back to that list.
Okay. And then what about engaging services for the adult day services?
Sure. So the adult day services, we do currently have openings in both Brookline and Greensburg adult day services programs. Again, we have that inquiry form on our website, so you could fill that out or call one of our locations for more information and talk to our director of senior services or our coordinator in Greensburg. And we do have an intake or a screening process for our adult day services programs, because we want to make sure that we can meet the needs of the people that we serve. So, we found that some individuals need more skilled care than we can offer. And so we have a process that we go through. We'll give the family and the individual a tour, and then, kind of talk through what the person's needs are.
Sure.
And then we also consult with our licensor to ensure that we're equipped to handle someone's care if there's a question, about sometimes if there's a feeding tube involved or something like that, it's more than we can handle. So we always check with our licensor as well to make sure that we can provide the care. So that's how we handle adult day services.
Thank you for that. And then, if I'm looking to engage for either one, do you have requirements for minimum participation or anything like that?
Sure. Yeah. So for each program, we require attendance at least 2 days a week, and different contracts and things like that. But we do ask that people commit to 2 days a week.
That's fair. If you're going to take a spot, that's fair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it helps us plan too for staffing, and it
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to know who's going to be there when and how many to keep those ratios. So that's good. And so if there's anyone that's hearing this and wants to engage the services, I am going to share the contact information. And here we go. So if anyone needs to reach out to learn about anything about the Seton Center, whether it's adult care, child care, adult day services, or one of those jobs that Jamie mentioned, you can reach out to the Seton Center. The address listed, the Pioneer Avenue address, is that primary address in Brookline, but we did talk about there are multiple locations, including Whitehall, Greensburg. But do reach out by phone, 412-561-8400, or take a look at the website at setoncenterpgh.org. And then I also want to be able to, sorry, I'm just trying to be able to show my contact information. Let's see if this will work. Well, I guess I'm going to stop share. That was supposed to be easier. Bear with me.
While you're doing that, Christine, I can say that we, on our website, we do have the phone numbers for all of our different locations. The phone numbers are all different. So if you prefer to call and talk to somebody, that's the best way to find the different phone numbers. And then people can always reach out to me by email as well. My email is just jamie@setoncenterpgh.org.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
And if anybody needs to reach out to me, it is Christine@outspoken.info or 412-346-0292. But this session and all sessions in the Connecting Our Community speaker series are recorded and will be available for replay on the website outspoken.info. So as I share that information, I just want to thank you, Jamie, for joining us, for sharing all this really crucial information, because I know there are families out there that really could benefit from connecting to the center.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's so wonderful to talk to you, and I'm glad we could share our intergenerational mission with everyone.
Oh, thank you for doing so. And then thank you to everyone else who joined us today. And for those of you who are regulars, as a reminder, we do meet on the fourth Wednesday of every month. So our next session will be on Wednesday, August 28th. Thank you all for joining today.